Hello, Harold.
Hello, hello.
How's the Rebbe?
Excellent, very good.
Yeah, you got a bracha?
Of course. How many do you have? Many,
Uh-huh.
many, many.
Yeah, good.
Hello,
Okay.
Hi, Mario.
what's the joke?
No, nothing about getting brachas from Rebbes. You
Hmm.
pay, you get.
Try getting one with other bracha without paying.
There's no freebies.
Which stuff is today? 119?
Uh,
119.
Good question. Yes, I think we're about done, almost done.
Well, 120 is the end of it.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Which one?
119
Only
at
one
what?
more. Only one more. 119 tonight.
Yeah. That's it. One more.
Hopefully it's easier than soccer. We're actually one behind, that's all.
Hello, Johnny. ¿Estás resfriado?
Well,
¿Estás resfriado?
un poco.
Hmm.
Hey Johnny.
Ay, ay.
Belbo,
Yeah, Mario. Hello.
was machst du?
Mark. Fine, thank you. How are you?
Good.
Oh, Uncle Harold in Avis
Um,
here.
I'm here.
Harold, where have you been? You didn't come to Minion.
No, I was in the desert.
Oh, okay.
Huh?
That makes it that explains
Nice
it.
day today, probably.
It was gorgeous today. Yeah, very nice day.
You look like you got a suntan, Harold.
A little bit. Should I take my shirt off?
No,
No, thank you.
please.
Spare us. Spare us.
Okay.
Unless you have a six pack. I don't know.
Six pack. I have a keg.
You have a magnum.
Yeah, not a six pack. A one pack.
By the way, I want have you guys been to
Is
this
all
Tel Aviv
Octopath.
tapas?
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah, a while back.
Very nice. Nice
It's very
place.
nice. It's a schlep. That's the only problem, but it's
Yeah,
very
but it was
nice.
you don't go every day. You go once a month or once
Yeah,
every.
it's very very nice. Yeah,
Very nice.
it's fun. Did you go like late? It gets like a
I've never
party
been. I
hour.
No,
heard it.
I didn't go late. It was
Oh,
nice when I went. Then it started getting full.
it gets loud.
Hmm?
It gets very loud.
I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's fun. It's fun, but
No, but it's a very nice. The actual ambience is nice and the place is nice. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, because first time there.
Oh,
All right. I guess the boss is here.
So I have a wedding tomorrow night.
Mazel tov.
about
Mazel
time.
tov.
It's about time you got married.
No, I mean, I'm attending a wedding.
Oh, okay. Okay, better.
So I can teach at 9 p.m.
Ugh.
As 5 o'clock won't work because the chuppah is early. It's like a 5:30. So I don't think I'll be back by 8. So let's
Tomorrow,
let's make it
tomorrow is the last class.
correct.
Okay.
And Tsorba, I'm going to move to Wednesday.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
By the
Okay.
way, I'm getting the shipment of volume 20 on what I think that Wednesday night will be our last time that I think we'll finish volume 19 Wednesday night. And I'll have the volume 20. So either next week you guys can come Tuesday night to my home, or I'll somehow will get the form to you
Okay.
Okay.
for volume 20. Okay, tonight is Kufyu Test 119. So we were calculating 50 that Shiloh existed for 369 years. No? It says in the end of Malachim Perek Beis, we learned this, that it gives us a sum that overall David HaMelech ruled for 40 years, Bechevron Malach Sheva Shanim, 7 years in Chevron, and 33 years in Yerushalayim. Now remember, he moved the Aron from Kiryas Ye'arim in the first year that he moved to Yerushalayim. So we can calculate from there that the Aron was in Yerushalayim with David for 33 years. We also said it was 20 years in Kiryat Ye'arim. 20 plus 33 is 53. Then Shlomo HaMelech built the Beis HaMikdash in the 4th year of his reign. And he immediately moved the Aron into the Kodesh Kadoshim of the new Beis HaMikdash. So 53 plus 4 is 57. That's how long the Mizbeach and the Mishkan Kelim were in Nov and Givo, 57 years. The Aron and the Mishkan were in 2 separate places, but that accounts for the 57 years for both, right? 13 in Nov, 44 in Givo, and it's 57. Then when you take, it says that it says when they built the Beis HaMikdash, it's 480 years since they left Mitzrayim. So 480 minus 40 is 440. Then you have to subtract 14 when the Mishkan was in Gilgal. And then you have to subtract, we just calculated it, that 57 years that it was in Nov and Givo. So 480 minus 40 minus 57 minus 14 is 369. That's why the Gemara said that Mishkan Shiloh existed for 369 years. It doesn't say anywhere in the pasuk that time. We calculated through the calculation we just went through. Okay. Bala Nova Givon, when the Mishkan after Shiloh was destroyed came to Nova Givon, the Bamos were permitted again. Menanamili, the Ton Rabbanon, Kilovosamat Ata, Elamnucha v'lanachlo. Elamnucha zu Shiloh, Nachlo zu Yerushalayim. Lama Chilkan, why were they separated? Kedein litein heter ben zelazeh. To teach you that there was a heter abamois in between Shiloh and when the Beis HaMikdash was built in Yerushalayim. So,
Ernie, just ask you a question. But
Yes.
Novel Gibbon, right? What was the fact that we could have misspelled Kedusha? What was it from? Oh, I mean,
Walter, we lost you. You froze for a minute. Repeat your question.
sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so I'm asking what.
No, what the,
You froze
What?
again.
Sorry?
No,
You
you froze.
froze.
Go ahead. Try again.
Okay, I don't know. My Wi-Fi is not so good over here tonight. Northern Gibbon, why is it such a great place? Why did they get, I mean, in a lab, in Mizbachot, Bachutz, and all that kind of thing? What was so holy about that place? I mean, where does it come from?
Okay, so first of all, if you remember, Nov is Nov Ira Kohanim. Remember when Shol HaMelech is looking for David HaMelech, and then he kills out all the Kohanim in Nov. So Nov was a city of Kohanim. Perhaps that's why they moved remember, once Shiloh was destroyed by the Plishtim. So then the Aron was taken captive, but they needed a place to have the Mizbeach and the Shulchan and all the other Kalim besides the Aron. So they moved it to Nov. Now, perhaps they moved it to Nov because it was an Ira Kohanim. And
yeah, but that seems like the land was Kaddish, because if you could do the Mizbachot, Bachutz, and all kinds of things, it seems like they had a special schut over there. So for
what
some
about
reason.
Gilgal was the same thing. Gilgal was the same thing. The 14 years that they were in Gilgal. Now, we didn't discuss this fully, but what's going on here? So what we see is that it is the connection between the Aron and the Mizbeach that determines whether Bamois are permitted or not. In Gilgal, during the 7 years of battle, where was the Aron? The Aron went with the army. Remember Yoshua or surrounding Yericho? What did they have? They went around with the Aron. So the Aron went to battle. So, and that was, and also they used it for the Urim V'Tumim when they divided. So during the 7 and 7, Kivshu V'Chilku, the Aron and the Mizbech are separated. That allows Bamas. Then, when they build Shiloh, all of a sudden you have the Aron connected with the Mizbech again. Now Bamas are prohibited. Now the Plishtim take the Aron captive. And they move the Mishkan to Nov. But there's no Aron there. And when the Plishtim send the Aron back, it goes to a farm to Kiryat Ya'arim, where it was for 20 years. And the David HaMelech brings it to Yerushalayim in its own tent called Ir David. The Mishkan stayed in Nova Givon without the Aron. So there's something about the juxtaposition of the Meiri says this. He pointed it out. The juxtaposition of the Mizbeach and the Aron that prohibits Bamois. But when the Aron and the Mizbeach are separate, it's not a matter like Walter is saying that Nov and Givon are a certain holy place. It has nothing to do with holiness. Wherever the Mishkan is, like remember, the Mishkan was with the Aron and the Mishkan together in Shiloh, but that's what it means. Elam nucha v'lanachla. Menucha zu Shiloh, nachla zu Yerushalayim. It doesn't refer to Nov Givon and Gilgal, but those are the places where we're tracking where the Aron and the Mishkan went. I'm just suggesting Nov was an Ira Kohanim. For practical purposes, they moved it there because there were a lot of Kohanim there who could do the Avodah. Then they moved it to Givon. I don't know what's special about Givon, but it was in Givon. And then finally, when Shlomo Melech builds it, the new Beis Hamikdash, so you have the Aron together with the Mizbech again. Okay. We said that when the Mishkan was in Shiloh, Kodshim Kalim and the Meiser Sheni, which in Yerushalayim you'd have to eat within the walls of the city, Shiloh had a special thing where wherever you saw Shiloh, you could eat it. Now, it didn't say anything about eating Meiser Sheni when they were in Nov and Givon. So, Reish Lakish Rav Yechon, Meiser Sheni Nami listening. Why didn't, when it was giving us all this history, why didn't it also say, the Meiser Sheni, they brought it to Nova Givon to eat it there? Didn't say it, which implies that they continue to eat their Meiser Sheni at home, like they did during Gilgal. Amar lei, Meiser Sham Sham Me Aron Kayalfi. It says Visham Tales Oilosecha, and including the Meisers. And it says in Shmos, it says Visham Ta, and there you shall Visham, that's where you put the Aron. So it's interesting. Meiser Sheni also seems to be connected to the Aron. Kivin de Aron Lohavi, Meiser Nami Lohavi. You could eat the Meiser Sheni in Tel Aviv, since there was no Aron in Nova Givon, Meiser Sheni, there was no requirement of eating the Meiser Sheni in Nova Givon. Iachi Pesach Lakot Shanami. Now, it does say that the Pesach had to be eaten in Nova Givon. Well, why? Sham Shami Orn Yalfi. It's the same Hekish, the Kiva de Orn Lavi in Unami Lavi. We should have also not been able to eat Kodshim, or it wouldn't have necessarily have to be in Nova Givon. There would no chiyuv. Maybe you could bring the korban pesach also at your bum. Amar lei, no. Hamani, who is the author of that paraisa that seems to suggest that Meiser Sheni could be eaten anywhere? Rabbi Shimon. It's not according to Rabbi Yehuda that we have to come up with these drushes. It's Rabbi Shimon because the Amar Av Tzibur lo ikrivu el pesach v'chayvus hakavul en zman. That at the Mishkan and Nova Givon, you brought obligatory korbanos that were connected to time, which includes the korban pesach. But korbanos that are not tied to a certain date, like Korav, they were not offered not on a bama and not in Nova Givon. They had to wait until the base of Mikdash was built. And Meiser Behema, the farmer that counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the 10th is the Meiser Behema, is an example of a choyvah she'en kavul em zman. You're not required to give Meiser Behema at a specific date. You do it when you have a certain thing you do. Isker Meiser Dog and the Meiser Behema. So just like they did not makri Meiser Behema at Nova Givon, Meiser Sheni was also not hukrav there. And Chanami, according to Rabbi Shimon. Well, are you saying that Michlad Rav Yehuda Karev, the one who argues with Rabbi Shimon, that you could bring even choyvos, even individual choyvos could be brought in Nova Givon? Does he agree that Meiser Sheni had to be brought there? The Gemara says in. Yes, according to Rabbi Yehuda, the Meiser Sheni had to be eaten in Nova Givon. Frek the Gemara of Haboy Bira. It says Lifnei Hashem. The Meiser Sheni has to be eaten in the Bira with Lifnei Hashem. But there was no Aron there. Lav Tanim Rabbi Yosef Sholosh Biro say. A Bira refers to a place where the Shechina dwelt. And there were 3 times, Shiloh, Nova Givon, and Beis Olam. So there was a Bira. Hu Tani Lavu Amar Lachilas Meiser Sheni. Valibit Rabbi Yehuda. Yeah. There's a Bira only called Rabbi Yehuda. According to Rabbi Shimon, there's no Bira in Nova Givon. Okay. Bol Yerushalayim. Torabbanan kilo v'asam ad ato el amnucha v'lanachla. Mnucha zu Shilo, nachla zu Yerushalayim. The oimer haisali nachlasa ka'aye bayar. These were Yirmiyahu Navi's talking about the city of Yerushalayim. The oimer ha'ayit savua nachlas ili ha'ayit saviv aleha. An ayat is like a bird. And it refers to Yerushalayim also being attacked by birds of prey. So why do we need these psukim? To prove that Nachla is a reference to Yerushalayim. The Rabbi. Now, interesting here, Reb Shimon Omer the opposite. Menucha zu Yerushalayim, Nachla zu Shil. V'omer zois menuchasi adei ad po eshev ki ivisiha. This is where I'm going to rest my menucha forever, which is Yerushalayim. So that's why Rav Shimon learns menucha refers to Yerushalayim. Which says that Hashem chose to dwell in Yerushalayim. Now, so we have a machlokas, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon, whether menucha refers to Shiloh or refers to Yerushalayim. Well, chronologically, when it says uvata elam nucha v'lanachla, chronologically they were in Shiloh first, then in Yerushalayim. So it makes more sense to say first they went to menucha zu Shiloh. Hainu d'chsiv elam nucha v'lanachla. Elamanda menucha zu Yerushalayim nachla zu Shiloh. It should say elanachla v'lam nucha meboy, not elam nucha v'lanachla. So hachi kamer lo meboy menucha de lo matisu. Don't tell me it's not only that that Hashem hasn't come to his final resting place when you're in Gilgal. But when you're in Gilgal, you even haven't reached Nachla. You haven't even, don't tell me you haven't even reached Yerushalayim when you're in Gilgal. You even haven't even reached Shiloh, which is Nachla. Tan Rabbi Shmuel. A third opinion, Zu v'Zu Shiloh. Rabbi Shmuel holds that Elam Nucha v'Lanachla both refer to Shiloh. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai Omer Zu v'Zu Yerushalayim. We have four opinions. Bishmal Amanda Menucha Zu Shiloh, Nachla Zu Yerushalayim, or Inami Ipcha, or you could say the opposite, right? According to Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon. That's why it refers to two different words. Because they went to two different places. What is Elanachla? The pasuk is Elamnucha ve'elanachla ve'elamnucha. Kilovatem ad ata Elamnucha ve'elanachla. So what's the ve'el? If it's both going to Shiloh or going to Yisrael, it should say Menucha Nachla M'boile. It shouldn't need El. Kasha. So according to the two opinions that we quoted, Rav Yishmael, Rav Shimon ben Yochai, the pasuk doesn't work. So Bishlam Amanda Merzu v'Zu Shiloh. I understand maybe we could say Elam Nucha v'Lanachla, both are Shiloh, because Menucha d'Nachul Mekibush, they rested from conquering, and Nachlo because the Paul go awesome Nachlos. In Sefer Yoshua, we learned that where did they do the division? In Shiloh. So that makes sense to say Menucha Nachla is referring to Shiloh. Okay, it's going to be the permanent dwelling place of Yerushalayim. That fits. Ela menucha, my menucha. What's the menucha in Yerushalayim? Oh, menucha saron. Vahi kanoach Aaron. Finally, after the Aaron also went from Gilgal to Shiloh, then to the Plishtim, then to Kir. It moved around. Finally, it settled in its final resting place in Yerushalayim. So that's why perhaps menucha is a reference to Yerushalayim. Bishma Mandar Zuvizu Yerushalayim. Aval Shiloh Havishar Yizbomis. There's something practical comes out according to the opinion that both are Yerushalayim. That basically it's because it says kilovatem al ato al amnuch l'nachla. What is that pasuk talking about? It's talking about doing korbanos. So basically, that pasuk was giving permission for Klal Yisrael to offer korbanos bamos until they got to Yerushalayim. And therefore, it would have been permitted to offer korbanos on a private bama. And that fits with a historical fact that we also learned together when we learned Shoftim. Shimshon's father Manoach, they lived during the time when the Mishkan was erect, was present. Normally we've learned that during Shiloh, if you say Lamnucha v'nachla zu Shiloh zu Yerushalayim, then it's prohibited to offer korbanos on a private bama. How did Manoach offer a korban? It works according to the Mandorma that says Menucha and Nachla both are Yerushalayim. Elamandam Zuvazu Shiloh and Uvamas Hava Asrin, according to that, it would be prohibited, like we've been learning. Mai vayikach Manoach. How could Manoach offer a korban? So the Gemara says, Hoyrosh Shahaisa. The Malach there, remember the Malach appeared to Manoach. The Malach gave him a permission to offer a korban. You see how important it is that we learned Yoshua and that we learned Shoftim. All of this is very relevant to us as we go through these Gemaras. Tan Shmuel Ki Rab Shimon ben Yochai. The Amar Zuvazu Yushalai. The Simonich Mashchi Gavri LaGavri. This Baraisa, it looks like Rab Shimon ben Yochai pulled away the people that were learning like Rabbi Shmuel. Okay. Then we went through an analysis that korbanos that were magdish when the bamas were permitted, and then you offered it outside, is not kores. So Amar Rav Kana lo yishanu ela b'shchita. When did they say that you don't have kores? When you do shchita. If it was hugdash during heter abamis and then shechted when it was prohibited. But aval ba'alos kores tamim lecha. But to offer it up on the mizbeach, you would get kores. My time of the Amar Kra va'alehem tomar with an aleph. Ala smuchen toima. It's referring to the various prohibitions that were read together. We talked about both shchita and to offer up, they were together. Maskil Rav Rav Miksi Valeim, that doesn't say with an ayin, Aleim, it says Aleim Ksi, referring to Klai Yisrael. So you can't use that pasuk to our din. V'otanya, Arba Klolosai Rav Shimon Omer B'Kotshim. Rav Shimon offered 4 general rules by Kotshim. Higdishan b'shas isra bamas. If the animal was hugdash when the bamas were prohibited, Mishkan Shiloh was still standing. V'shachat ve'ela b'shas isra bamas b'chutz. And you shechted and you offered up on a mizbeach outside. Harein b'asei v'lo tasei. V'yesh ben kores. You violate a lav that has kores and you violate an asay. However, higdishin b'shas heter abamis. If you were magdish it when it was permitted, when Nova Givon operated, and then Shlomo Melech built the base of Mikdash, and you took that animal v'shachat ve'elo b'shas isra abamis, you shechted it and put it out on an outside mizbeach. Harein ba'asei v'lo tasei, but ve'ein bein kores. There's a law, but without kores, you get malchus. Higdishon b'shas isra abamis. You were magdish it, let's say when Mishkan Shiloh stood, when you couldn't offer an abama. B'shachat ve'ela b'chutz b'shas heter abamis. 2 weeks later, you went to the city of Nov, and you took that animal and you shechted it, and you put it out on an outside mizbeach, when normally it's permitted to use a bama. Harei and basei, but there is an asay of you have to bring korbanos close to the lifnei Hashem, but vein ben below, so there's no lav at all. And the final case, higdishin b'shas heter abamis, you were magdish when it's permitted to use a bama. V'shachat ve'elo b'shas heter abamis. and you offered it on a bama, potter mikulam, you're allowed to do it. Well, you see that there's no kares when you were magdish something during the time when it was permitted to offer on a bama. To Yufta is Rav Kahana to Yufta. So that knocks Rav Kahana out of the box with what he wanted to say. I'm Rav Kahana. It's not correct. Ve'elu kodshim. There were other activities that our Mishnah mentioned that you're not allowed to do outside of the base of Mikdash. Smicha. Number one, you don't have to do smicha when you offer a shlomim at a bama. Because it says lifnei Hashem, the samach. And you're not lifnei Hashem, there's no oron, there's no mizbeach. What else? Shchita tzofo. You don't have to shecht. When you build your private bama, you don't have to take the animal and to the north of that mizbeach and shecht it there. It's only tzafon lifnei Hashem. It's only when you're in lifnei Hashem in your base of Mikdash or the Mishkan, but not by the bama. Matnei saviv. In the base of Mikdash, we learned that you have to apply blood all around the mizbeach. The zarku al mizbeach saviv. Asher Pesach Oel Moed. This is not Pesach Oel Moed. The bum. Tenufa, you don't have to do waving. Dichsiv. Veinifa koin lifnei Hashem. Hagasha, you have to be magish a mincha. Dichsiv vigish al mizbeach asher lifnei Hashem. This al mizbeach, which is also lifnei Hashem. Rav Yehuda Omer mincha bebama. Rav Yehuda gave a general rule: you don't bring menachos by a bama. By the way, I've always commented, we're about to finish Masechta Zevachim. What's the next Masechta? Menachos. There's always a foreshadowing. That's in literature, that's a technique that authors use. They foreshadow something in a chapter that's going to happen in the next chapter. And we always see it at the end of a Masechta. They always start foreshadowing. All of a sudden, we have this halacha, ein mincha b'bama. Because we're about to finish Zvachim and start Menachos. Amrav Sheshes. The divrei omer yesh mincha b'bama, yesh oifos b'bama. Menachos and bird korbanos go hand in hand. According to the opinion that you could offer a mincha at a bama, you could offer a bird korban. The divrei omer ein mincha b'bama, ein oifos b'bama. Because there's a drasha, zvachim v'lo menachos. Because it says you could offer zvachim at a baba, but not menachos, and zvachim v'lo oifos. The kohen, you don't have to have a kohen come to your house to do the activities at a bama. You could do it yourself. Because v'zorak ha-kohen el pesach omoy. Big day shores. You didn't have to put on any special garments when you worked at your bama, because it says l'shares b'kodesh. Uchlei shores. You don't have to use any special kelim. Asher yishar subam b'kodesh. L'reach nichoach to see. You don't need to have a pleasant smell, because l'reach nichoach l'Hashem. Mechitza b'domim to see. There was a line that divided the mizbeach 50, right, up and down. It bisected the mizbeach. You didn't need that. V'aisa reshas chatzeh mizbeach, the mizbeach, but not the bum. Richitz yodayim dichsiv uvekorasam el mizbeach yirchotzu. When they came, they only had to wash their hands in the mizbeach. Then we said that the mizbeach at the Nova Givon did have a demarcating line, but the bama didn't. Let's say when you're magdish your animal, you have in mind you're going to offer it on a private bama, but then you change your mind and you, but let's say you were magdish it initially thinking that you're going to do it at a private, but then you brought it to the Bama Gdola, yesh chitzui. That korban requires to you have to do it on that mizbeach that has a line. Moisif Rabba. Chazav v'shok. By shlamim, the breast and the thigh had to be given to a kohen, and 1/10 of the 40 loaves of a mincha trumas lachmei toida noihagin bekotche b'magdoila v'nohagin bekotche b'magdoila. They only operated in Nova Givon, not by a private bama. This seems to suggest even if you are bringing it, if you were magish at your bama, but you brought it to the big bama, including hagasha and waving. Just say these things are noyeg at the Bama Gdola, but not at a private Bama. Ekedi Amri, when do you need the 50% line? When you were magdish in a big Bama and you were makrif it there. If it was originally designated to a Bama Gdola, there's no choiv to do it that way. And lema Messiah lay. Let us say the following broises helps that. Chazav v'shoyka trumas lachmei toda nohagin bekotche b'magdoila ve'nohagin bekotche b'magtana. Even if you originally did it in the b'magtana, it applies. You don't have to do it. Ema nohagin b'magdoila. It's not ve'nohagin b'magtana. Upligid Rabbi Yezer. And that's a machlokes. Rabbi Eliezer, don't Rabbi Eliezer. Oilas bamas yachi, sheichnisa bifnim, an oil of a bamas yachi that you brought to a bama gdola because you changed and you brought them just the pieces because olas are cut into pieces to burn it there. Kaltua mechitzas choldava. You have to all the various chumras of the Bama Gdola apply. I mean, and therefore the blood has to be thrown below the line. Because that's we have to do an ola. Okay. Very good, everybody. So
tomorrow what time?
9 p.m. It shouldn't be long. It's not just a half a blot.
Okay.
9 p.m. We should consider doing a siyum. It's a big Masechta Zevachim. We'll talk about it.
All right.
Everybody.
Okay, we can talk about it.